When new clients come to me and ask me how to train new employees, one of the first and most powerful things I'll teach them is the skills transfer loop. Now, I made a whole video on how to make an onboarding training system that I'll link to right here. Boom. So be sure to check that out. But I wanted to go over and just create a video on the skills transfer loop itself to really explain the power and how important this aspect is and how it's really going to set your trainings apart from other companies' systems. So be sure to stick around and let's get right into it. Before we get started, my name is Carter Doyle. I served in the military for 12 years as an Army infantry officer, got out, started, grew, and sold my own company, and now I help businesses just like yours improve their training systems to see bigger margins faster. If that's something you're interested in, check out the link in the description down below. We'd love to help you out. Now let's get into the video. Now, I don't want to bury the lead, so we're going to get right into the 5 steps of the skills transfer loop and explain each one as we go through. Stick around till the end though, because number 5 is really what's going to set you apart from all the other training methods. So getting right into it, number 1 is going to be you do, you explain. Number 2 is you do, they explain. Number 3 is they do, they explain. Number 4 is they do, you observe. And number 5 is they do, you observe, and critique and calibrate. Real quick, let me start off by saying whenever I'm saying you, I mean the person who's conducting the training. And when I say they, I mean the person going through the training. So whether that is specifically you or the person who does the training or your onboarding team or HR, whoever it is, that's what I mean by you. And when I say they, I mean the person going through the training itself. So the new hire or the person, maybe they already work for the company, but they're the one going through the training. That's who they is in this scenario while we're talking about this loop. So let's start out with number 1, which is you do, you explain. Now, you've already gone through a block of instruction teaching them about what they're going to be learning. So this isn't necessarily when you're introducing them to the thing that you're going to be doing. This is when you're going to be doing the hands-on portion of this. So the you do, you explain is with the backdrop of they've already gone through some training or orientation on whatever this is. So they have a basic understanding, but you're going to actually physically do the thing that they're expected to do in their job. And then you're going to explain why and how you're doing it hands-on. Because the important thing here is demonstration over exposure. Demonstration over exposure. You want to demonstrate, whether it's you doing it or them doing it, over them just kind of watching someone repeatedly. So that's why this is so much more effective than just job shadowing. Now, this is a 5-step process, but it doesn't mean each step is only done once. So step 1 might have to be done 2 or 3 times so you can fully explain the whole entire process to make sure they understand it. But that's going to take us to step number 2, which again, after how many ever reps it takes, is totally fine. But step 2 is you do, they explain. Now, this is going to be a really helpful way of seeing if you've explained it correctly and wholly. Because if they're explaining it back to you and you realize, oh, he didn't say anything about this. Well, that's because I didn't say anything. This is the time where you can stop and say, no, you're right, I didn't explain that. Or, hey, you missed this, but that's on me. So let me kind of explain this part and I'll redo it and kind of explain that more fully. But this step should take, again, as long as it needs to. You're still doing it and they're explaining back to you in their own words. Don't have them try to repeat back exactly, but in their own words, repeating back to you what you're doing. Step 3 is going to be their first time putting hands on doing it the way that you want them to do it. So again, step 3 is they do, they explain. Again, I want to keep saying this. However many times it takes for you or them to do it is totally fine. These are steps in a process, not a by the 5th time, they're perfect and ready to go. So each step can take as long as it needs to, but don't progress to the next one until you've mastered or finished that step. So again, step 3, once they've repeated back to you while they're doing it correctly and holistically, because you're now watching, then you've completed step 3. And just like we talked about before, this is going to be another good opportunity for you to, since you're standing back and watching them do it, see if you missed anything while explaining the job. Now, this doesn't mean you're explaining edge cases. We'll get to those later, or telling about the nuances, or, if this thing goes wrong, or I saw this once. That's for later, but this is just overall watching them doing it. And you can explain or tell them, oh, I forgot to tell you about this step, or, use your right hand instead of your left hand, those kinds of things. Now on to step 4, which is they do, you observe. And what this is going to mean is that you're just going to stand back and watch them actually do the task once again. And all this is a yes or no. If they nailed it, great. You can move on to step number 5. If they didn't, then you can go back to either steps 1, 2, 3, and then have them recertify on step 4 that they've done it to your standard and to the likings of whatever, the standards of the company are supposed to be. Finally, it's going to be step number 5, which is you observe and calibrate. Critique, calibrate, you can use either one, but we're going to go with calibrate. So what this means is that they've already demonstrated that they're able to complete the task up to your standard. Now what you're going to be doing is pausing them as they're going through and adding in context, adding in nuance, adding in edge cases, adding in kind of all the years of experience you've picked up of how to do the job into what they're doing. See, they need a baseline to go off of. But once they have a baseline, that's when you can start bringing in all those weird other examples of sometimes this happens, do this. Or, hey, the book answer says it has to reach, 5, but if you hit 4.75, it's actually okay. Or, whatever the example may be, but this is where you're going to bring in all those years of experience, all the nuance, all the weird scenarios, and letting them know as you're going through it, as they're going through it, what can happen, what can go wrong, and how to fix it, how to course correct to increase their knowledge and their understanding and mastery of that skill. Just like we said at the beginning, the reason that number 5 is so crucial and it's going to set yours apart from everyone else's is that people need a good, firm understanding of what right looks like first before they start delving into and soaking up all the other examples of what correct and good can look like. If you start just throwing information at them as they're trying to learn a new task, it can overwhelm them. They can get more confused. So if you consolidate all that to one step of step 5, where you're explaining the edge cases, all the outliers and things like that into one singular section of the training, they then have a good baseline that they can expand on. You want them to understand and pick up all the years of experience that you have, but it needs to be in a controlled manner, after which they've had a baseline understanding of how to do it correctly. So doing this framework is really going to set you and your training apart from everyone else's because you're able to successfully convey what right looks like and years of experience and mastery of the thing without overloading them or without them not knowing what the baseline correct is. So that's it for this video. Thank you again so much for watching. Really appreciate it. Be good. God bless. And I'll see you in the next one.